Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for the support just before we begin. As always, I really appreciate it. We're up to over 1,000 subscribers now, which is really cool. I know that that's not that many compared to most YouTubers, but in terms of people sitting in a room listening to me, I feel like that's pretty neat. So anyway, we've got Levi Jones-Leary versus Ty Rotolo here. Hang on a second, sorry. Levi versus Ty. I think that Cade couldn't do this match because he hurt his knee, ironically, against Levi in the CJI that just went on. So without further ado, we'll get into it. So we've got Levi on the left here, Ty on the right, and you can see Levi is kind of like a Zen master, like a Buddhist monk. He's just sitting and he's got his hands out. Sorry, that's just what it reminds me of. And so he doesn't give a fuck. He's got his strategy, and he's going to play it. Now, I would suggest that even already, Ty is making a mistake here. He's offering a leg. He might be relying on his physicality a little bit to get away with some stuff, but you shouldn't really be offering your leg because your hips, if you look at where your hips are versus your opponent's hips, or even their head, it's very easy for Levi to start getting underneath you, and it's very easy to start using the leg to hook and then the arms to grab, and then it's very difficult to get lower if you're Ty in this position and then start getting into the fight without getting lifted and swept and inverted on and leg locked and things. So in reality, you should probably have your feet on the distance out here and have your hands further forward. So Levi doesn't take advantage. He's taking a very defensive posture, and so Ty gets away with it. But if Levi was a little bit more offensive, like we see Gordon Ryan being, then Ty would be in trouble, I like the capoeira style of dancing. So you see how he steps one leg backwards and then lifts this one over the top. Not sure why he just lifted and went over the top of the leg here. It didn't really feel like it accomplished anything other than, I don't know, trying to confuse Levi. But you can see already that Levi's like a waiting snake, isn't he? He's just coiled and ready to strike and latch onto you straight away. If you're not careful. So you can see how Ty here is dancing around, but he keeps on stepping way too close. He's got no recourse. He just steps straight into the lion's mouth, so to speak, and he's not got any grips or connections on the guard, and he just gets latched onto and stuck in the mud. And so straight away, this is, you could see how he was struggling to get out of it. Straight away, this is a difficult position now for Ty to play, when it didn't need to be if he had just distance manage properly. And so you can see how he's now, Ty that is doing a good job controlling the ankles, and Levi's not spazzy, so there's actually quite a nice little chess match to play. But straight away, Levi gets the underhook on the near side leg, and he's going to start inverting into the K guard. This left leg, the knee is on the outside at the moment. He wants to put it on the inside of Ty's leg. So outside, inside. With this, the right leg can start swinging over the top and start attacking the hip flexibility forwards, and exposing the heel and getting into your leg locks and knee bars and things like this. And so Ty manages to step out of it. It's very nice. You can see now he was starting to play the distance. But to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of what he's doing to go about passing this guard, because he's just trying to lean through the feet and push them away. But Levi's too experienced for that, because he's just going to weave his feet to the inside and have his heel close to his chest and his knee close to his chest. And so pushing the feet out of the way is going to be difficult without losing balance if you're Ty, which we see right there. See how he's quite off balance. Levi starts spinning around, squaring up. Everything's shut down. So in my mind, you should be, if you're Ty here, you should really be focusing on distance managing with your feet, so that Levi has a tough time trying to get underneath you and attached to your legs. You should get lower onto your knees And you should be on the extremities of the heel, trying to encourage Levi to have the heel coming away from his body. Now from there, you can play with like some pressure and start shutting down the inversions of cross faces and things. Because the reality is that cross faces do shut down inversions. You just need to get to a position where you can cross face them. And that's the hard bit, that's the hard bit of dealing with inversions. And so if you're playing into the style, apologies, I've got a neighbor that likes to rev the motorcycle down the back end. If you've got someone that's playing into the style of inversions like what Ty's doing, it's going to be very difficult to start looking to pass the guard. You can see how he's trying to neutralize the leg by stomping on it, but it's not doing that much because he has to start stepping off of the leg to start gaining traction. But Levi's other leg is in the way, and it's just going to be too hard to do anything with this pin with the leg as is. You need to be lower than this. And so you can see how Ty's trying to come around the top by pushing the legs out of the way. Once again, he's coming too close with the legs, and Levi's just bringing the knee into the chest rather than trying to fight with an ab crunch. So it's going to be too hard, basically, to pass this guard. Even though it looks like he's kind of maybe doing it, you can see how because Levi is bringing the knees in, he's actually ended up inverting on Ty straight away, and now he's threatening the back attack. Of course, Levi has to be careful about extending the knee through the guard because he can get knee barred. But you can see how this is Ty that is gets into Sudoni on belly, but because the knees are so far into the chest for Levi and his hands are still in the way pushing Ty down, he's not going to secure this position, as you can see. And then you can see how Levi uses his legs to push Ty up and he's starting to invert in underneath, and this is what allows the kiss of the dragon to happen. And now all of a sudden Ty's on the back foot, has to start running away from it, and Levi's into his leg entanglements. Very beautiful defense. You can see how Levi wanted to commit with that leg here. So watch this right leg of his, watch his right foot. He wants to commit somewhere in here to start attacking the leg, but he notices that Ty's got the toe hold attempt on and the straight ankle lock attempt on, so he doesn't commit to it. Instead, that's really, really pleasant what he just did. Instead, he holds it back, and now as Ty starts stepping up over the top, Ty wants to put this foot on the floor, but because Levi has a reap in place, with his outside leg, so the outside leg is this left one at the moment, but as Ty starts rolling up, Levi brings it through the middle, and then starts coming up and over the top of the outside leg there. You see how he shifts it, and then he's going to flick it free and get over the top. And what Ty here wants to avoid is exactly that happening. So he's holding on to that leg as much as he can. And now we're in an inverted 50-50 position, but Levi is attached attached at the hip, pretty much, literally attached by his hip to Ty's leg, and he's threatening that heel on the bottom really, really nicely. And so you can see how Ty here has to be really, really careful about how he goes about dealing with this. And it's just a really nice exchange, to be honest with you. It's full of threats, and both of these young men are being professional and calm about this, which is really, really cool to see. And so you can see how Levi's going for that heel straight away, but Ty manages to do a back step, but to be honest with you, all of your weight through your toes into the floor doesn't feel like a good time to me. But here we are. So Levi manages to backstep out of it, and then we get into this inverted 50-50 position. It's not a single leg X, it's 50-50. And he's starting to push the legs down, which is difficult to deal with. And so he pushes the feet off and backsteps. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this. I personally would not have liked to see this leg step backwards, but rather keep it forwards and just take the top foot off the top. And that's the only thing keeping you in the guard right now. The only thing keeping Levi in the guard at all is this top foot. So just push it sideways. Keep this one out and then you'll be able to step over the top into like a neon belly. Of course, easier said than done, because you need to squat low and start securing the shoulder wrap, and in that time, because Levi's still up on his shoulders, it's going to be very hard to secure it without getting lifted for inversions. But in my mind, that's the better way forward. Ty pushes the foot off the top and like starts sitting down and in for his own leg entanglements. And it's a bit hard to tell what's going on here. It's a little bit of a spazzy scramble. I don't know why Ty picked this. This is not really a position in jiu-jitsu, and is exposing his right heel here. If Levi manages to cross his legs here, he might very well have a heel hook on the outside, you know. But Levi manages to scramble out, and he can see the back. He can see the exposure of the back. He shrimps out, like hip escapes out to protect his own feet, and you can see how he's starting to look to attack Ty's inside leg. So he's going up and over the top, trying to put his right leg in underneath the leg, in between Ty's legs, and he'll go into a saddle position on the near side left leg here. Ty recognizes this and just shrimps out, and then starts to wrestle up and on top. And Levi accepts it because he just wants to play guard, basically. And you can see once again, Ty here goes for that, like the walk around the top, push the legs down, and it just doesn't work, because by the time that you get through to the top, either, like if you keep hold of the legs and start pressuring them away from the other person's body, your feet will be over the shoulders, and so you'll be in danger of inversions like what happened here, basically. Or you walk past the head and you can't put an appropriate amount of pressure down through the legs so that you're not strong enough to hold them there anyway, and then you get inverted on. It's not really the right way to go about passing a guard like this at all. What you have to understand in no uncertain terms, is that you need to deal with the feet first, not push them out the way so you can dive down. And sometimes it happens, but that's much more of a skill check rather than actual good jiu-jitsu, is that you can get away with this with shitters. Like fucking white belts and some, like even up to some brown belts and some black belts, you can get away with this, but they're invariably fucking trash at jiu-jitsu. You don't want to be doing jiu-jitsu that beats fucking trash shitters. You want to be doing jiu-jitsu that beats Levi Jones Leary. And the way you do that is not by holding on to the ankles and fucking run around the top like a retard for the fourth time when it doesn't work. The way that you do that is you systematically approach it by separating the joints from the middle of the body, playing on the distance, getting lower, and then systematically approaching it forwards while you're putting downwards pressure. And we see this with Gordon Ryan. He does this in a masterful degree. And then you force Levi to carry your weight, and you force him to, if the only thing that he can do is a bench press, you get to a position where the only thing you can do is a bench press and push you away, you force him to do that fucking 40 times while you're playing on the outskirts and being patient. Then when he's tired, you collapse in again, and then you take hip control, then shoulder control, then you take mount, and then you win. Running around and hoping is not a good strategy. Relying on your opponent to be bad is not a good strategy. You need to be systematic with this approach. And you can see how, like, he just fucking arcs backwards, groin in, face fucking Levi at the moment, but he's getting inverted on. And so Levi manages to go into like a reverse K guard, gets the knee shield back in, hands go in the way, and then all he has to do now is pull the shoulder backwards, drop this top shoulder forwards, then it'll give space for the bottom leg. And then there's no pass. Or Ty here can posture backwards and give space for the weave. No pass. And so Ty's got some really good balance here, and just sitting on Levi. But again, like, it's not really a good strategy, because as you shift weight, you'll give opportunity for Levi to start shifting your hands out the way. But like, again, these Ruotolo brothers are very impressive athletes. They're very impressive athletes, and it's starting to work. This is a little bit better with what I'm trying to talk about, is that you see how Ty is not all the way around the top. He's not tried to go all the way around the top. He's pressuring forwards through the guard. straining the frames, and what he's doing is he's moving around them, pushing them out the way every which way, and then he's moving around them to the side, over the top, and then backwards, and then around the side again. And what he's forcing Levi to push every single time. Watch. So as we go, he's forcing Levi to push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pushes in that entire exchange, which makes Levi pant and puff and all the rest of it. And then once again, beautiful strategy here, hits the gas, straight away smashes in and forces Levi to push, which makes it very difficult for Levi to maintain energy levels, basically. But again, because I don't like what he's doing in order to pass. You see how he's going hips in, sprawling tall, trying to get like underneath the frames, and he's trying to do it quicker than what Levi can react to. Problem with that is like Levi can fucking react to it, and so he's just trying to muscle his way through without really any semblance of technique here. It's like very aggressive, good grappling, and this is a technique, but it's not really good technique, if this makes sense. It's not what you refer to when you refer to technical jiu-jitsu. And so Levi manages to get good frames in because Ty is trying to go hips forwards. He's actually quite light at the top, and he allows himself to get sled shocked forwards, which allows Levi to invert underneath again. And then during this entire exchange, Ty is focusing once again on exactly the wrong things, which is the ankles by this point, when you should just be foregoing them and trying to get a shoulder line on the hips, because that will deal with the knees and by extension the ankles. Then you should be trying to cross face. But he doesn't. And so what this does is it creates a huge amount of space for Levi to weave legs back in and square up again. No pass. And so once again, we're into this leg stomp position. I'd love to see Levi much more active with dealing with this. Like, the reason why he's getting to these positions where he has to push and push and push is because he's being frankly fucking lazy, and he's being very passive. I would love to see him a little bit more active and aggressive in the guard, so that he is not always on the back foot defending and relying on Ty to make mistakes. Once again, if you allow your partner just to encroach on your space and you've done fucking nothing, and then they take a position they want to play from, if they're really good at body positioning, once again, see Gordon, if you allow Gordon to do whatever the fuck he wants in this space and just get close to you before you start playing, you're fucked. You've made a huge mistake. It's a huge blunder. And right now, Levi is making huge blunders by not doing fucking anything. You know, inaction is a mistake of its own. You're, in general, better off making the wrong decision and doing something than you are making no decision and doing nothing. And so this is why it's as close as it's been with the passing, is because Levi's being very reactionary rather than very offensive with the guard. And so you can see how he's like pushing, and then he disengages the hand for no fucking reason. Then he pushes again, disengages the hand for no fucking reason, and is completely waiting for Ty to come in. And it's not a very good decision making in my mind, but such is the way of it. You can see how Ty's going for the same thing. He's kind of learnt the fact that he can't commit all his weight forwards because he gets inverted on, but it's exactly what I was saying before, is that if you're too far away now, you don't have the appropriate amount of pressure to push the feet out the way. So there's no point. And then if you try and pull the feet down, Levi's just going to spin his head out and he'll square up to you again. So like this type of running around the top with people that are really good at inversions is just not a good way to play. You need to be pulling down, lowering them to the ground, pinning their ankles, making slow progress towards the hips, then the shoulders, like what we saw Marangali do. And then straight away, yeah, this is much more like it. This, what we just saw, where Levi is defending, but then you see how he reached just a little bit there for the ankle. He manages to catch the ankle, and then all of a sudden he's into the offensive aspects of this guard. And he inverts, and starts looking for the saddle entry. Gets the saddle entry shallow, not past the knee line, but manages to... we will assess this in a second after I finish that thought. Manages to latch onto the leg and enter into leg entanglements. So Levi here gets the shallow saddle entry over the top. You can see how Ty is now on the defensive again. He does like a really cool back step to free this leg, and then he needs to go backwards. But Levi is holding on quite tightly. Levi then jams the heel in because now he can actually threaten the heel because his top knee is over the top of the knee line. He adjusted as we went. But Ty manages to once again spin out of it. And now heel hooking from here is quite difficult. It's actually... and then so Levi manages to catch the... Oh, what have I done? Sorry. We'll go back. So this back step... it's actually, funnily enough, where I dislocated my ankle from with my student. He was heel hooking me back and forwards and over the top, and my ankle at the top went. But this is how you get out of this particular pass, because what ends up happening is that if Levi allows this top knee in to his body line, Ty will complete the spin and his right hand will get a crossface, and then Ty will take mount because the bottom leg will come through the gap, and then his hips will be sitting on Levi's. Is basically how that happens. So Levi manages to catch the legs and spins, not allowing this. Now all of a sudden, we're here into like a calf slicer. I would have loved to see Levi locking up in a triangle to secure this leg. But Ty is probably, like in the moment, it's hard to judge because Ty is coming up, and so he probably felt that that trying to lock this leg in wouldn't have been good because of the momentum that Ty had coming up and in. And so we get into like a elevated, what do we call this? Is basically an X guard, but like a split X guard. So one leg is on the far side, one leg is on the near side. I'm going to call this the scissor lift guard because it kind of looks like scissors lifting him, right? Levi manages to catch onto that far side leg, and so now Ty's properly stuck in the mud, and Ty has to be very careful about what he goes for and what he does, because he's in danger every which way. And so we're into the Akoi lock, or whatever the fuck you want to call this, basically straight ankle heel hook, where Levi is now elevating the leg up and just pushing the other hip away, and just pulling through on that straight ankle lock. And it is very detrimental because if you turn your heel out, like what Ty just did, like so, as you can see, it becomes a heel hook because this bottom hand, starts elevating the heel to the outside. It's straining the knee, and so it's a very dangerous position to play, especially if you start falling. But thankfully, Ty has very flexy hips and can start looking to do a very good job of pummeling past the legs. This type of technique and position is much more like a glass cannon than not, because you can see how much torque it gives you, like it's a full extension leg press going through your ankle. Problem is you don't really have that much control over the extension of the legs because they're so far away from your body. And so what ends up happening is if you've got someone that's got good hip flexors and good balance like Ty does, because he's very athletic, you can start, if you're Ty, that is, start to fuck with the heels and then alleviate the pressure and then start passing them straight away because there's nothing over the top of the legs on the hip. So you can just literally pop off the top. And you can see how Ty manages to keep his balance even though he got tripped. So he goes knee to the floor, palms around the side, and starts looking to threaten the pass. And so, yeah, for fucking once, he got low. He gets low here. What he should be doing is not really worrying about this anymore. The threat's not there. He needs to be catching the head, elbow blocking the hip, and he needs his chest low. But then he manages this and he like springboards off of Levi up into the air, and allows another inversion and allows Levi back onto the legs. So he gets so overzealous with the hips going in to clear the legs that he forgets that hands exist. And then Ty's done a very good job of diving in, and he's starting to hunt for that back control, because Levi basically made a mistake here and started hunting for the legs and brought his own bum closer. Watch. Levi wants to go for the legs, and so brings his bum closer, trying to attack the near side leg, but that brings his back closer to Ty here. And if Ty manages to get the left hand under the neck, it's over. So Levi abandons the plan, goes back on the mats, and starts shuffling away. Ty, however, not letting him go that easily. He very much wants to come up and on top. And so I like what I'm seeing here is that Ty's being very heavy, as like bringing his knee up, pushing the leg down, holding onto that bottom leg, and now he's hunting with the hands, and Levi needs to be like really jamming away, really burning the juice here. But Ty manages to get into like a head and arm triangle type position, and starting to come up and over the top with his legs because he wants to get on top. Levi, however, is doing a really good job blocking the space with his leg, and then since he's getting on his side, this elbow can start coming free, and the pressure is alleviated. You can see how there's a heap of room in there. So now we get back into this guard position. Levi's done a really good job of re-guarding that. And again, there's not much to be said for that. That was just good play from both of them. Just slight mistakes. Once again, we go for this pummel around the top that's not worked this entire fucking match, so why try anything new when the same thing will do? And we're finally seeing, once Ty gets tired, a little bit of fucking pressure play coming in, which is what we need to do since the beginning. Because at this point in the match, yeah, it might have been a bit boring, but Levi would be fucking exhausted even 4 minutes later, you know. And you can see how Ty's looking for openings. He's doing that cute little thing that Galval does, where he goes like a reverse knee cut and starts looking to dive on the back. Levi shuts it down though. Once again, I feel like Levi's being way too passive here. He's just waiting and having a break. I don't know what that leg weave was for. He's just waiting and having a break. Ty circles around the top quite nicely. Once again, just trying to circle around the top and beat the guard with physicality rather than finesse. Levi's defending it. It's just the same fucking thing over and over and over, you know. And so we get into the same type of position, and we'll just wait for it to be over. Once again, finally, we start seeing some pressure play. What I would really love to see from Ty now is his right hand going onto the hip, chest going low, and this other hand either dancing around the head or on the bottom knee, depending on what happens here. And then yeah, we're into close range play. This is much more like what you should be doing to try and beat this guard, rather than fucking standing on his knee for no reason because you want to show off your physicality. Yep, and if you're not fucking careful, you get into this type of position where your legs are getting attacked. Which is exactly why you don't really want to go around the top like this, because once again, if you're committing all of your weight through the hands into the legs, if you've got someone that's good at bringing their knees into their chest, look at how close your hips are to the hands and to this knee especially. You're going to get inverted on. This leg goes out to encourage you to commit forwards because you think, oh, fucking great, cool, I'm pushing his leg down. But then you don't have a good grip on it because it's so far away from you. So you can just weave it away and over the top. And now all of a sudden we're latched onto the leg. And then Levi's starting to look to entangle now. That was very tight. And so we're here. And now this is a good cautionary tale. If you're Levi, you have to be super careful about allowing that knee through if you're in this position, because you will get someone like Ty that's very athletic that will hop up, sit down, and then pull the leg through like he did. He did that very, very well. And now all of a sudden, you're no longer attacking, even though he fucked up that position before. You've allowed way too much because you're just so fucking passive in the garden. You're not really willing to start pushing advantage. You're waiting for him to make mistakes, which once again, relying on your opponent to be bad is not a good strategy. So both these boys need to do some work here. Levi needs to be more patient with his game. Ty needs to be more patient with his game. Levi needs to be less patient with his game. And then we're into, like, this position should really be winning. And what Levi needs to be doing is taking this hand out, pushing the bum forwards, and then getting this knee further through the gap, basically. And then other than that, he just gets attacked straight away into a saddle position. So Ty is a bit of a fucking cockhead, isn't he? Fuck me. He just fucking straight up wrenches this heel as hard as he can around the side. And doesn't give a fuck about Levi's knee or his competitive, or his competition career, or his ability to fucking walk. He just wrenches the knee around the side, and starts going belly down for the heel hook and is like wrenching it forwards. I'm frankly not sure. Look at this striation in the knee. How Levi's surviving this, because that looks fucking tight. But Levi manages to extend out and is defending this quite nicely. Now, Levi's doing a good job pushing that down. Every available resource is pushing this shin down, which will free the knee, which will make the heel hook harder to get. Ty manages to get the heel hook though, because he does a really good job of being quite tight with that crossbar. So we're here, and I really like what Ty's doing right now. You see how he's like crunching up, his entire body goes in. And then he manages to get on that heel. And so he like sits so heavily on that heel, and you can see how tight that body wrap on the heel is. Now from this position, very, very nice. He's starting to go belly down, and this leg movement was really smooth. I really like that. Over the top. This lock, instead of relying on the lock coming through the heel, he goes in behind the bum, which makes this entire thing much more like a knee bar, to be honest with you, than not. And you can see Levi's face. He's not having a good time. That's on straight away. And so it's like a heel hook knee bar, a corkscrew knee bar, which is fucking bullshit. Bullshit painful. With that, like the genie cross leg lock rather than like a traditional triangle lock. So this is something for us all to take into account, is the leverage that you'll get off of that that heel going across the bum will be astronomical. As you can see, it's an insta tap just even before he starts applying, even before Ty starts applying the submission. Levi's not happy with it. He got beaten with his own game. And then, like, in my mind, I would have picked Levi as the favorite to win this, just because of the decision making from Ty. But again, this goes to show that it's not about who blunders first; it's about who blunders last. And so it's a very nice submission, very nice finish there from Ty. He saw the win, he went for it, and this is something to be said for Levi, if he ever watches this video, is that you need to be way more fucking aggressive with your game, way more of a submission hunter, rather than as passive as you are, because frankly, mate, you're in that driver's seat the entire time. You fucked it. That was your match to lose. You fucked it by being so passive and allowing Ty to sit on that knee like you did. You should have won that. You're more technical than he is. You're more technical than he is. You should have won. You just need to push the pace a little bit more. But again, this goes to show that technique is not necessarily everything when it comes to jiu-jitsu. You can have, it's in terms of like technical grappling, Levi's better. Today, or when this match was had, in terms of grappling overall, Ty was better. It's not to say that Levi won't win in future, but it is to say that there's a lot more that goes into grappling than being technically proficient or intelligent with your style. Anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed that. Please let me know what you think. If you liked it, consider a subscribe and or joining the Discord channel. I like chatting with you guys. Thank you so much. Catch you next time.